All right, guys. So coming off of this whole Tim Pool drama with Rod the Rugged Man, in which they almost got in a fight over politics, I ran across this story about exactly why you don't get in fights with people over politics, because it never, ever, ever ends well for either of the two involved. It is simply not worth it. And this time we have a story about a retired Las Vegas police officer who decided to talk with the mailman about politics when the mailman comes by. And apparently this led to a heated exchange between the two that ultimately ended up spiraling out of control, and to the point where the retired police officer ends up knocking out the mailman. So without further ado, I want you guys to watch the news clip of what happened, and then I'm going to chime in with my thoughts.
Tonight, a former Las Vegas, New Mexico police officer is facing federal charges. Surveillance video shows him knock out a postal worker cold. News 13's Brittany Bate explains what led up to this attack.
He stepped up to me, I was right there on the street, and I freaking just popped him, dude. And when he went down, he hit his face right on the...
That's the story retired Las Vegas police officer Robert Gutierrez told Las Vegas police earlier this month. Officers told Gutierrez they didn't think him punching a federal employee would be an issue.
Being a retired police officer, I don't think you're going to be going to jail.
Bro,
okay?
However, federal investigators disagree.
There's 3 of them.
Surveillance video taken on December 3rd shows Gutierrez punch the postal worker in the face the first time as he turned around from reaching into his truck. Gutierrez told officers the postal worker was the one being threatening.
So today he started getting in my face, and I said, don't get in my face.
Gutierrez and the postal worker told officers they had been arguing for a couple weeks over politics.
We were always giving each other about politics. Trump, he hates Trump, and you know, the Biden thing, and I'm a Trump supporter.
In a federal complaint, the postal worker told investigators he left a notice in Gutierrez's mailbox, informing him he can pick up his parcel at the post office in order to avoid another conflict. USPS says the postal worker not even trying to deliver the package is against policy.
I have no idea. Okay. Like I said, I have no idea why came all the way over here. No, he had no reason to come over here. All his mail got delivered.
Surveillance video shows after the first punch, the two exchange words for about a minute. Gutierrez claims the postal worker was threatening his family, which the postal worker denies. Then video shows Gutierrez punch the postal worker in the face again. On his way down, he nails his head on the mail truck's bumper. He stands up only to have Gutierrez punch him in the face for a third and final time, knocking him out cold.
In retrospect, I understand I probably should have walked away, but like the dude's just like setting me up, man. He's holding a package from me, then he's threatening my family, and then he's telling me, oh, it's like basically wanting me to assault him, you know what I mean?
Brittany Bate, KRQE News 13.
The postal worker denies threatening Gutierrez or his family. Gutierrez was released from jail pending trial on the condition that he gets a mental health assessment and that he seeks treatment.
All right, guys, so you seen that, you heard that, right? That's kind of crazy. And the first thing I want to say is that when I was reading the comments on this story, where I found it at, a lot of people are pissed that the police officer on the body cam footage, the police officer that responded to this situation, told the retired police officer that he didn't think he'd be going to jail for knocking out the mailman, right? The federal employee. Now, in that officer's defense, the one that told the retired officer that, you know, he probably wasn't going to jail, he probably didn't know, right? He probably had no clue that, yeah, if you assault a federal officer, which technically the mailman is a federal officer, the United States Postal Service, the mailman, he's a federal officer, that's a serious crime, right? That is a serious crime, right? And he has been charged with felony assault because he assaulted a federal officer. And the retired cop status is, again, a retired cop, doesn't hold much weight in that regards, and it shouldn't. And I think it's a bad look to say something like that on camera, that because he's a retired cop, he's not gonna go to jail for doing something like that is obviously a crime. But the retired police officer is basically saying that, hey, we've been arguing about politics for a few weeks and it's got heated. He's a Trump supporter. I'm assuming that the mailman, he was a Biden supporter. Okay. And things got heated, right? Heated so much so to the point where the mailman didn't feel comfortable delivering a package to the retired police officer. Okay. That's why he left a note saying, hey, you can go pick it up, at the post office, right? Which the post office says is against policy, right? He's supposed to try to attempt to deliver that package. Okay. But because he didn't want to have a confrontation with the retired police officer anymore, again, he decided to try to dance around having that type of conflict. Okay. And in response, the retired police officer sees the mailman across the street and goes up to him and is like, yo, where's my package at? Right? Why are you not delivering my package? Right? You can't just be holding my package and not attempting to deliver it. Right? And at that point, it just escalates from there to the point where the retired police officer basically assaults the guy multiple times and ends up, knocking him out. Now, the retired police officer is also saying that the mailman was threatening his life. He was threatening his family. He was saying all types of stuff as well, too. So, I mean, hey, I don't know. Right? But what I do know is that none of this would have happened if they had not been arguing about politics, right? And that is the whole point of this video, right? Like, this is a political channel, okay? But at the same time, I think that people got to understand that fighting over politics is never worth it, right? Violence is never worth it. Getting worked up about politics is never worth it, okay? Far too often, we hear about stories of people losing family members, loved ones, friends, over politics because you simply can't agree to disagree and walk away. Again, I just did a story about Tim Pool, right? And Ari the Rugman on his podcast and them almost getting into a fight over politics. Again, imagine how that could have went. Tim Pool, he seems to be armed, okay? He seems to be the type of guy that's packing. Tim Pool is a lot smaller than Ari the Rugman. So, I mean, in a situation like that, could Tim Pool have ended up shooting him or using some weapon against him in self-defense? I'm just saying. But all that would have stemmed from the fact that, they were getting upset at each other because they simply disagree about politics. And in this situation right here, with this retired police officer and this mailman, if they would have simply agreed to disagree and walked away, right, or understood that, hey, you know what, these are politics, let's not, go at each other's throats about it, all this would have been avoided. The mailman wouldn't have been beat up because he had to go to the hospital. He had all types of injuries and stuff. And this retired police officer wouldn't be facing these federal assault charges, again, if they had just let it go, right? Again, it's never, ever, ever worth it to fight over politics. It's just simply not worth. Nothing that you do or say is going to change anything in Washington, especially when you say those things to your family, your friend, your neighbors, right? The only thing that's going to happen is that you're going to end up, getting in fights like this. Something bad's going to happen and you're going to lose people over it, right? You're going to lose loved ones over these fools in Washington, right? And some of them, again, in your state as well, too, the politicians. Again, that's just never worth it. Now, I know this retired police officer, he has a wife. So now, again, his wife, his family, his kids, if he has, kids and stuff like that, they now have to go through this. They have to deal with this. Again, this is just a reminder. Fighting over politics is never, ever, ever a good idea. Just another reminder. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.